Gang hang, good morning all. My name is Matt Baum, and aside from me is my co-host. What's your name, kid? I forget. Who are you again?
Some people know me as the Internet's Joe Patrick.
That's right. I knew this guy. We are the hosts of the Two-Headed Nerd Comic Book Podcast. We talk about comics on the internet. We talk about new comics. We talk about old comics. And then on Saturdays, we get together with our listeners, and we talk about everything else. Stuff we did review, stuff we didn't review, stuff on TV, stuff in the movies, stuff and things. So here we are. And I wanted to start today.
Stuff and things.
I wanted to start today with an update on a nerd bet. Every once in a while, the house wins. Joe and I both lose. And today, one of those bets. All new Venom #5 came out this week and revealed
oh my God.
the identity of Venom. Spoilers, kids. A little setup first. The first few issues set up 4 characters. One of them was Venom. Most definitely. And you have to figure out the mystery of which one of these characters is Venom. And then we found out it's Mary Jane fucking Watson.
Oh, boy.
She is Jackpot and Venom. And let me tell you, the only thing I like less than a superpowered Mary Jane is a superpowered Mary Jane with 2 superhero identities. It's so dumb. Come on.
Listen, you gotta give Al Ewing if anyone has earned enough rope to hang himself with, it's Al Ewing.
I mean, sure, but he didn't build the mystery.
Just pump the brakes and give it a chance to.
They didn't give us the clues, though. The whole thing was like, can you solve the mystery? And it's like, no.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that I think if you go back now that you know, you will see that there are clues.
Joe. I've read all 5 of them. No, it was only.
No, I've read all 5 of them too.
The last two issues, they shifted to this. Mary Jane's husband knows something about the real Venom and all this stuff. Like that, it just kind of popped in there. Totally let us astray.
It's been brewing since the beginning because they are Eddie's son Dylan is living with them.
I know. I agree.
And so they've been in the book since the beginning.
But they also made it look like it might be the cat thing, the sleeper that's inside Rick Jones or whatever. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
I thought it was Rick Jones, to be honest.
Give
it a chance. I was expecting it to be Rick Jones. I certainly didn't expect it to be Robbie Robertson. Luke Cage has his own thing going on.
Right.
Madam Mask as Venom is dumb. Why? What's the point? And so Rick was the logical choice, but this is a swerve for sure. Was I like super excited for that reveal? No. But do I trust Al Ewing to tell a story that ends up being good? Yeah,
I'm sure. Yes. And the book was fun. Like issue 5 was fun. MODOK's there. It was a big fight. It was a good time. Right. But it's just like, I feel like you didn't give us enough information. And the fun part of this was supposed to be, can we guess? And I don't know.
And again, I disagree with you. I think they did give us enough information, and it's just a matter of putting together the right information.
Nah. It was bleh. Regardless, we both lost. The house won on this one, so whatever.
Well, that's fine. You know what? As long as we didn't lose, then we're good.
So let's.
By the way, is she still Jackpot? Like technically,
still Jackpot.
She is Jackpot. Yes,
still.
Oh my God!
Out there jackpotting around. Yep. With her stupid slot machine powers.
Yeah, fantastic.
I don't care.
But I have my own. Like we'll see. Like I agree with Joe in the sense that we have to see how the story plays. I also have my doubts whether this is going to last any amount of time. Well, I'm not saying like any amount of time. It's going to last for a little bit, but I don't know if this is like a permanent thing. Like, oh no, now we're just going to still skip Mary Jane.
Certainly not. Mary Jane is not going to be Venom.
No.
Yeah, forever.
No, she's Venom now, but she won't be Venom probably beyond this story arc.
It seems like nobody gets to be Venom for very long until it switches back to Eddie, right? And that's just
exactly. It always comes back to Eddie.
I don't know. Eddie's Carnage now, so
for now, but that's not going to last either.
Venom and all type of things.
How long before Cletus is Carnage again? I mean, like same thing. Come on, there's no way.
I don't know. I can't keep track of what's going on with Cletus. I think he's dead. Right?
He is.
I think he's like dead again.
Cletus is dead again, but Cletus has been dead at least 4 or 5 times. So I'm not worried about it.
Well, because the Sentry tore him in half, which, is pretty dead.
Turns out,
but no. I think that he became like this. I don't know, but
you're kind of a weird race type
like
of
some
being.
sort of infection, right? Some sort of
exactly
spiritual infection of the Carnage symbiote.
Well, yeah, and it was something where he woke something up that Null noticed and stuff, and was there was a whole thing. I don't know. Bleh, whatever.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. I don't care.
For a little bit, but yeah, exactly.
But it will be Eddie and Cletus
it's
forever.
silly. I think All New Venom is a good book. I think it's fun, and I'm going to let Al Ewing play. And so, what was the reveal something that made me cheer? No. Will Al Ewing stick the landing? Yeah, I don't doubt it. So
yeah,
I don't need superpowered Mary Jane. Period. I think she's way more interesting without.
At this point, I was fed up with Jackpot already. Like, but I guess whatever.
Yeah, nobody likes
superpower. The thing with Mary Jane being interesting without superpowers, that only applies if she's in Peter's life, and she's not.
Which again,
she's barely there.
That's another problem that I have.
The Joe Quesada thing is never worn off, apparently, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
So,
at this point.
It's silly, especially when you look and everybody goes, oh my God, Ultimate Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man book that they've put out in years and years and years. I totally agree. And part of why it's great? Because they did the thing. He's married. He's got a kid. He's with Mary Jane. Like,
I mean,
you guys.
From a cynical standpoint, from like a marketing standpoint and an IP, blah, 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 IP stewardship and all that, I understand why they've got to leave Peter Parker stuck in this perpetual state of suspended animation. But
I don't buy it anymore.
I don't like it.
You've got a Miles out there.
Really,
You've got a Miles out there that you can tell these other stories with. Superman got married, Joe. Superman's got kids. He's
a kid.
Yeah, but Superman being a single man down on his luck, like Superman's
Clark Kent is an act.
Character
I agree.
Clark
Kent is an act.
Clark Kent's whole vibe was not necessarily tied to the fact that he's like this young single dude.
Well,
but you know what though?
Peter was a single guy. Yeah.
Damon.
Yeah, but I was going to say was, his character though was at one point, I have to hide my secret identity from Lois and How do I deal with the double life? And eventually it wasn't, and he turned out just fine.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. Yeah. I'm not saying it's the right call. I'm saying I understand why they made the call.
Joe, I will counter with, do you know what's harder than
Holland as your MCU?
Do you know what's harder than being down on your luck, single guy? Down on your luck, dude with a kid. That's way harder. Okay, because you've got a family. You can tell those stories. He's just married now. There's nothing about me. It's like, oh man, I wish we could see him bone the black cat. I guess that's out the window. Come on. You could tell married Peter stories, and they're doing it in the pages of Ultimate Spider-Man, and it's excellent. Let's talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man. Joe Kelly.
Well, actually, before we do that, since we're on the subject, it's a great segue from talking about Spider-Man's marriage getting erased to the new Spider-Man movie title, Brand New Day.
Brand New Day.
Oh, well, I mean, look, I think you can use that because it is a brand new day. Nobody knows who Spider-Man is anymore. It's a brand new day. Yeah,
no, for sure.
Sure.
And also Brand New Day, one more day is the bad one. Brand New Day is the creative renaissance, right? With Dan Slott and
that was a lot. Brand
Mark
New Day
Waid and all those guys.
Turned out to be a lot of fun in spite of what happened.
Off and on, depending on who was doing it. But yeah,
I wouldn't put bets on Mephisto or whatever. One more day.
No. I mean, Brand New Day is a fine title. It's just kind of weird that after 3 movies, they're gonna just ditch the home theme, right? Like Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. You ain't got another home idea?
I don't think so. I think they got to get away from it.
I think the home is going to get wrecked after this movie, because apparently, if the rumors are to be believed, this takes place simultaneously as Doomsday, which is going to end probably in a cataclysm at the end of that movie too, or whatever happens in Doomsday. I'd be very surprised.
What if it's a full-on Jonathan Hickman incursion?
It could be. We could be.
What if that's the planets clapping together, and then after the end of all this, it's Battle World, baby?
It's going to be something,
I can see that.
And it's going to be a reset. And Marvel is terrified. They have to get away from this stuff. They have to start fresh. That's why we're getting this whole new Fantastic Four like feel, this brand new day for Spider-Man. They're like, look, we're back. We're doing it. It's different. It's not the multiverse stuff anymore. We blew it all up. I mean, they got to give it. You can't do any more home stuff. They're done.
I know that we always go into this with the movie stuff, but did anybody hear about the CinemaCon? They didn't put the trailers out yet, but like the Fantastic Four trailer that came out. Speaking of which,
yes, and I know that Matt Shankman, the director, confirmed that the movie is set in the '60s and that it's in its own universe. So,
okay,
whether or not he's using that term in the same way that nerds like us do when we're talking about the multiverse. Or if he just meant like, it's our own little corner. But he did say we're in our own universe and it's set in the 60s. Like those are two quotes. So
yeah. And I mean, we already know that, at least I believe this is clear. It's definitely going to be one of those things at the end of the movie. It's all tying together. I mean, incursions, I agree with Matt. This is kind of where we're all headed for, right? For the next Avengers movies. So their universe is going to get, an incursion. Regular 616 MCU is going to get an incursion. And then the end of it, everybody's going to blend together and play nice.
I really do think that if this happens, that we're going to end up with a universe where the Fantastic Four and the X-Men were always part of it.
I could see that.
Maybe not the X-Men, because the X-Men are not going to debut before Secret Wars. But
you can see the beginning of mutants.
The existence of mutants. Yeah, will be part of it. And it'll be a new history where the Fantastic Four have been around forever.
Maybe.
And it'll be a kind of it would be a nice way, an easy way to incorporate that history that they weren't able to do when the rights were somewhere else.
Yeah.
So,
and then you would have, quote unquote, the full version, I guess, of whatever they planned as an integrated history in the MCU.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like that stuff is a lifetime away from now, and it is. I don't know, like, will any of us live to see it? Will the Republic survive long enough to see it? I don't know.
It's not looking so good, Joe. I don't know about that part.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a whole different argument.
Great at the moment.
I think an even more realistic argument is like, what happens if the DCU completely fails and then they just go, you know what? No more superhero movies. We're done with this. Video game movies. That's where the money's at, baby.
Minecraft.
There's no chance that the DCU fails.
Yeah, Minecraft comes and makes $1 billion and the DCU does fine. They go, nope, screw it. Zaslav goes, fuck comic books, man. We're making video game movies.
No, I mean, what were you gonna? That Warner Brothers is pretty strapped for cash with their recent failings. So if the Superman movie does fail, that Warner Brothers might get they will get sold.
Yeah,
they're screwed.
It's not a good. Great. Good.
This would be the third time they've been sold.
I obviously don't want Superman to fail, but I would be fine if Warner Brothers got sold off.
It'd be the third time in like 15 years too. So like every 5 years, it's somebody else's turn.
The people that own it now don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Yeah.
Damon, you were going to make a point about something, Damon.
Oh, no. I was going to mention one other thing from CinemaCon that was also revealed in the trailer. This is I'm going to say a spoiler because we're going to find out soon enough. It was in the trailer they showed. But it was confirmed Stu is pregnant. And and
you know what that means, baby.
Franklin Richards time. So they already pointed out a few things. They also revealed the Silver Surfer, the Shalabal version.
Cool.
She had a few lines.
Oh, really?
But apparently the one thing she said to them, and a lot of people I've seen I don't know if they're overanalyzed, but they're definitely analyzing the line where they said, your world has been marked for death, and people, by Galactus. And people are like, are they talking about him eating the planet, or are they talking about him eating the universe? And they were kind of being very coy about it when they asked about that particular part. So, and then there's
I think he's eating the planet. I think if Galactus is eating entire universes, he's not going to make house calls at individual planets.
Yeah, you don't need to. Yeah,
I think he's the planet. He's the devourer. Their world has been marked for death.
Yeah, you don't use nuclear weapons to blow up a building. Use nuclear weapons to blow up a city, right?
Yeah.
So he's eating planets. He's eating planets.
Well, somebody was pointing out that he may have been just going around like eating a whole bunch of planets at this point, and Earth just happened to be on his list at this point.
Yeah,
so well, that's his whole MO, right? Like
exactly.
I'm sure that's the case. Godzilla. Galactus probably just came from his last meal. He's just like, man,
of course, I'm hungry, buddy.
It took me a lot. You know how it is with these planetary buffets. You're hungry 2 hours later.
Yeah, no, Galactus wakes up on his lazy boy chair. He's like crazy, space chair, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get a little midnight
Kirby
snack, maybe. Yeah, exactly.
He called Uber Eats with Silver Surfer. It's just like, can you find something? Yeah, I'll go for you, buddy.
He's like, I'm too lazy to go out. I'm just gonna DoorDash it.
So what if Sue isn't pregnant with Franklin? What if Sue's pregnant with Valeria?
No.
What if Sue's pregnant with a little girl and they skip straight to that to do the Doctor Doom thing,
Yeah, maybe. I mean, some people were this is the crazier, I don't know if I believe this rumor, but some people are saying, what if John Malkovich isn't playing Red Ghost, but like an elderly Franklin Richards who comes back in time? No, I'm like, I don't know about that, buddy.
No way.
It's not going to be that wacky.
No way. John Malkovich springs from those loins.
No.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. There were people saying all manner.
Can you imagine Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby's DNA combining to form John Malkovich?
John Malkovich. Holy shit.
It's the movies, Joe. It's movie
I'd be
magic.
Yeah, I mean, I know that genetics is weird, man, but come on.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact line. But it's just like, no.
I bet it's Franklin. Like, I'm like, what? If it's Valeria, well, I mean, whatever. It's fine.
I'm putting my money on Valeria. I think there's too many dudes in the Fantastic Four, and they're going to want more lady power. I'm putting my money on Valeria. What do you think of that?
They made the Silver Surfer a lady.
I get that. She's not a member of the Fantastic Four either. She's going to be a side character.
Neither is Franklin.
I totally agree, but he is in the family.
Yeah. But there are some people speculating that Franklin Richards may be one reason that Galactus may be drawn to Earth. And the other is that somehow he's going to factor into Doom's
What if
plan
Galactus can feel the power building inside of her?
That's what I was saying. Something along those lines.
And he's like, ooh, I got to get me a piece of that.
Yeah. Because there is a part in the original trailer where they didn't show this one yet, where he's like looking into the building. Specifically, he goes to the back of the building and looks right inside. And he's just
that's at the very, very end of the first of the trailer.
He's like peeking in there. Yeah,
his head like pops up through the windows of this skyscraper, and you're like, oh shit, it's Galactus. Yeah.
We'll see. It's intriguing either way.
I don't have such a deep and abiding love for Franklin that I would really care if they mixed up the birth order. But
I'm going to take that a little further.
Be Valeria. I think it'll be Franklin.
I don't care about Franklin at all. I don't care about Franklin.
I will say this.
I've never read a Franklin story where I was like, man, Franklin was great in that.
If they do Valeria,
surely you have. No. In Hickman's Fantastic Four, you read a Franklin
was fine in there, but I don't care about that character. He's too overpowered. It's always a problem. Franklin's one of those kids where we probably should have had the talk with Wolverine and be like, hey, we need to do something about Franklin. He's too powerful, man.
Good.
To be like, hey, Scarlet Witch, Franklin, the Molecule Man, like we'll just get them all in the same room, and you just run by, and
we can blame Franklin or give Franklin credit. I don't know which one of giving us that beautiful Heroes Reborn universe.
Yeah,
I don't know if credit. I don't know if credit's the word I would use, But you know what? I will give this on a sort of meta level. It is kind of fun how the Heroes Reborn universe looks like it was designed by a 10-year-old kid.
I mean, sure.
All of the characters look fucking stupid.
The Captain America book looked like it was drawn by a 10year-old kid. I'll say that. So
yeah.
We got Rob Liefeld, so they want
to, say what you will. Like, I think Will Spertasio is a very fun and interesting artist, but I hate that Iron Man armor so bad.
You don't get Will Spertasio to draw Iron Man. Will Spertasio is supposed to draw horror. Will Spertasio is excellent at. He can't just if you draw Will Spertasio draws Superman having lunch, it's going to look like Superman is leaning back and shrieking while he's eating, with neck muscles coming out and fingers twisted, and you're like, Will, what's going on, man? Everything's a Goya painting. It's terrifying.
It's like that painting of the Titan eating its own.
Yeah, that's Goya. Yeah.
Oh God.
Saturn eating his sons. Yes.
Yeah.
Yikes. No good.
The thing I had a point I was going to... Oh, Franklin. I take it back. I liked when Franklin came back from the future and dated... who was it? Second Phoenix, Rachel Summers in X-Men. It was like teenage Franklin. And like he was hanging out with Rachel and they were trying, he was gently trying to like help her change something in the present that so it wouldn't happen in the future. I liked that Franklin. He was cool.
Wait a minute. Is that what happened or is that the plot of... There was a sequel to Days of Future Past that ran through the annuals where it was set in the future. It wasn't like he traveled back in time. It's that's just where they were from.
Oh, I thought there was two stories. So it was future and past were going on at the same time.
I've never read it. I just remember that it's a sequel to Days of Future Past and Ahab is in it.
Yes, I believe it both were going on. There was future and past stuff happening at the same time. But it was like teenage Franklin came back and he was pretty cool. I liked him. He was good looking too.
I liked it when he went when he got age jumped and became Psylord and led Fantastic Force.
Yeah, that was kick ass.
That's right.
Nah,
he had the weird like X-Men hood, like the Gambit hood on. Yeah, it was
nobody liked Fantastic Force. No one liked Fantastic Force.
So bad.
Yeah.
So before we move on, and we'll talk about Amazing Spider-Man because I think Matt's got a fun discussion teed up for that. CinemaCon. They showed a new Superman teaser, which is sort of an expanded version of the trailer that we've already got. And this one features like an expanded cut of that scene where he's hurt and Crypto takes him back to the fortress. And all Crypto wants to do is play because he doesn't understand.
He's a puppy.
It is the most charming. It is so charming. It's
exactly like when I have a migraine and my pug is like, Dad, 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 Dad. And I'm like, oh my God, you gotta stop.
Kidding me?
And we got to see the fortress robots up close.
Yeah.
They all one of them is voiced by Alan Tudyk. He does not. They all have numbers. He didn't call any of them Kelex.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed about that too. But Alan Tudyk's got to be careful. He's really going to typecast himself as robot voice. Like, careful there, Alan.
I do think it's kind of funny how they all have capes, which made me smile.
Yeah. Oh, the robots? Yeah. I mean,
yeah, and like the fortress can pivot to face the sun, which I thought was rad.
Well, it's solar powered, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, it's a really great expanded version of the trailer. I really, really loved it, and you get to see a lot of Crypto's personality in it.
I think they're pacing this really well too.
Oh yeah, no, and then comedy too, because that's what some people are saying. This is like a glimpse, I guess, of the quote unquote comedy that some people are. Oh no, James Gunn is going to have too much comedy.
Humor. Yeah,
right. Yeah, which is fine. Like it was perfectly stated, in terms of the pacing of it and everything. I did like that James Gunn also pointed out at this point, Crypto is considered like not really. I would say trained, but he's very mischievous.
So I saw one of the press junkets from CinemaCon, and I think it was Fandango. I don't know. It doesn't matter which one, but he said, and I quote, that Crypto is the worst dog on Earth.
Yes, exactly.
He's the worst dog on Earth, but also with superpowers. And so how does Superman deal with that?
That's great.
And when I say worst dog, it's not that he's not a loving dog. No, it's that he's so poorly trained.
He's a very good boy.
Right? You can't stop it from destroying stuff, except when Crypto destroys stuff, we're talking about a car.
Right.
Like he mangles a car instead of a shoe.
Right.
I love back a car fender for like a stick. Where'd you get that from?
I think it's so great.
I do think they are revealing a lot, and this is enough. Don't show me anymore. I want to go to the theater.
But that's why I like that it was just an expanded. There was nothing. There were no new scenes. It was just more. Well, a little bit more of the scenes they already showed us.
There were some new scenes. We saw the robots.
Well, the fortress scenes.
Yeah. Like I don't want to see any more. I want to. That's enough. Thank you. I'm excited. You don't need to sell me on it anymore.
A couple months,
I'm going.
I am curious. Yeah, I am curious though, like because First of all, those injuries to Superman were pretty bad. So I'm very curious about what got him into that state.
Yeah.
I guess it's also part of the teaser, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of like, what the hell happened here?
He said this was at the beginning of the movie. So
or close to it, he said.
Yeah, near the beginning of the movie. So, yeah, we'll see.
So quick thought experiment, Joe Patrick, Superman expert. On the short list of people that could do that to Superman, give me a list of 3 villains that could be, I mean, Doomsday, obviously. Is that where we're starting?
No, we're not.
Then who does that? Then who does that to Superman?
Mongol.
Well, I'm told Mongol's a total. I got screamed down just the other day in our extra about Mongol being a total weenie, and you can just lock him up in jail because he's just Mongol.
That's not what I said. No, I'm saying
exactly what you said.
That's exactly what you said.
Shut up, baby.
Full respect on Battle World.
Mongol's not a god. He's like, you can imprison the Hulk, right?
We don't need to relitigate that. Can he beat?
People have done it.
Can he beat Superman to a pulp like that? Yes or no?
I mean, if Superman sits there and takes it, but he's not going to.
I'm saying they get in a fight, Joe. Can Mongol do it? They get in the ring. Mongol versus Superman. Is there a chance that Mongol beats Superman to a pulp like that?
I mean, it would take an extraordinary effort on Mongols.
But if yes,
he is strong.
You would agree that if yes, he could do that to Superman, you probably shouldn't put him in prison on Earth, right? That's a bad idea.
That'd be very
no.
What I was going to say, though, I think
you need to let that go,
water. All right. Well, I hate to put in this water. I'm almost certain that he just got kryptonited by Lex, and whoever it is, the engineer and the old.
There's a built-in reason for why Superman gets his ass kicked.
Right? It's Lex. So, it's Lex in a green robot suit, right? Lex in a green robot suit with a green laser, and and Superman goes, "Oh, I don't feel so good," and then Lex, "Yeah, screw you." Right?
Well, you know,
Frank. Wait, hold on. Frank's got a theory. Frank's got a theory.
Sorry, Frank.
Frank had a theory.
Frank?
He was.
Yeah.
What you got?
Darkseid, right?
Darkseid? I hope we don't start there, but yes, Darkseid.
We're not going to start there.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Darkseid definitely on that list of people that could whip Superman's ass.
I mean, it could also be the sort of story where we see something that happens later in the movie, and then it flashes back, and we see how we get to that point.
Well, sure,
because we know that one of the villains in the movie is Ultraman.
Or Ulysses, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
One or the other.
Well, I mean, he's got a U on his chest. I think they are referring to him as Ultraman. And so we've had these debates, these kind of theories where we've discussed, like, if he's just Ultraman, why is he covered head to toe? And it could be a couple of things.
What does that mean?
That nobody.
What do you mean covered head to toe? When you say why is he covered head to toe?
It's a mask.
So there's a character that you can see in the set photos that is in the trailer, but it moves so fast you wouldn't really know unless you knew that was him.
Okay.
There's a character that is walking with the engineer and the LexCorp goons or whomever, and he is covered head to toe in a black outfit, and he's got a U on his chest, and that's Ultraman. And so the question is.
And for those who don't know, Ultraman is Mirror World evil Superman.
Right. That's the thing, right? Is that there could be, why is Ultraman covered head to toe? And it could be for a couple of reasons. One is that it's a big reveal that Ultraman is an alternate universe Superman, or it could be Bizarro under there. And Bizarro, it could be a clone of Superman created by Lex that he has disguised and called Ultraman, and now he's got his own pet Superman, except we all know what happens to clones made by Superman. Clones made of Superman, they turn into Bizarro.
Yeah. And Bizarro also on the short list of people that could whip Superman's ass.
Correct.
But this Bizarro won't be from Bizarro World, probably isn't going to speak in reverse, isn't going to fly backwards.
From a fucking square planet. I hope he comes from a square cube planet. I hope he talks real weird.
He flies backwards and lands.
A medallion on his chest that's got his name on it.
The camera pans up and he goes down and here. We're like, oh my god!
What, Frank?
We saw that in Superman and Lois. We saw the square world in Superman and Lois.
That's true. We did.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I liked it.
Yeah, and they're not going to do that in the movie, but I think it's a fun Silver Age thing. Yeah. But yeah, I think that. So my theory, my personal theory right now is that Ultraman is a clone of Superman created by Lex, and that clone becomes Bizarro.
So maybe that Metamorpho face that we look at isn't Metamorpho at all, but it's Bizarro.
No,
that's 100% Metamorpho. Yeah.
Do we know that?
Do we know
that? Hank from Barry. Like you can tell just by looking at him.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm fine. I'm fine with Bizarro.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And also, so Superman, like, I don't want to like get super duper nerdy about it, but there are different eras of Superman where he is like not as godlike as everyone thinks he is. Like post-crisis Superman, it was possible for that dude to get his clock cleaned.
Sure, if it happened all the time. Jimmy beat him up several times.
If faced with a sufficient force, that Superman could get beat up, and it happened a lot. Metallo did it.
Sure,
like. There are characters out there that could easily give Superman a run for his money. Now, this Superman is like 16 broken bones and his lungs filling with blood and blah, blah, blah. Like the Fortress robots spell it all out.
But that's kryptonite, right? It's got to be something. They weakened him.
Yeah. Or Ultraman nearly beat him to death.
Ian keeps coming off. Ian, you keep coming. I see you turn your mic on. Did you want to add to this?
I'm waiting for, I don't want to interrupt anybody.
No, get in here.
I think, I think one of the things that I found redeeming about the trailer, and I think kind of what you guys are talking about is, when you have a character that's like nearly omnipotent, like Superman, I think I said this before in the group chat, like the real struggle is finding a conflict to, appropriately challenge him. Right. And, with less stellar Superman movies like Superman Reborn, it's just like, oh, we got to make him lift some heavy shit because we don't really have time to develop like a superpower background.
Oh, right. Yeah. Kevin Spacey did not present a formidable physical threat, so we had to have Superman lift an island.
I mean, all of Superman Reborn is 90% of it is him lifting heavy things.
Yeah,
it's really all.
It's true. Yeah.
So, but I think what makes it so interesting is because, and I think what James Gunn does really well, like with the Peacemaker and things, is like bring everything more down to like. Superheroes are part of the fabric of society. They exist. And what I think is really interesting, I don't know if the trailer really says this or not, but it's like you have other superpowered guys.
Yeah.
So it's not like he is this direct Christ figure where it's like we got one guy that can help us. And like if he can't help us, we're screwed. So there can even be like a pecking order. Like, like Superman could fall out of favor because another superhero becomes more popular or like, I feel like that is so much more dynamic in terms of storytelling rather than just like the Zack Snyder, like we got a guy and he's real powerful.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to, and then some other powerful guys are going to have to show up and we're all going to root for him. It's like that, like you can't do that anymore. We are so far beyond that basic level storytelling that this kind of like, this excites me a little bit to see like, you could, like the classic Marvel team-ups where they fight a little bit at first and then they realize they're on the same side or whatever. But just that there's more players makes it more interesting. I think it's really that simple.
I think that people that aren't longtime fans of Superman, like no offense to anybody, I'm not trying to say that I know better, but I'm saying people have this certain perception of what Superman stories are like. And the best Superman stories are not about how much stronger Superman is than anything.
Right.
The stories are about what does Superman do? A man this powerful. What does he do with a problem that he can't punch his way out of?
That's also, though, the biggest misunderstanding that people who don't know Superman have. And I think it's brilliant to show these people this isn't that movie. Scene 1, Superman got his ass kicked. Superman's on the ground, bleeding. Broken. This is not what you think is good. He's too powerful. Who cares? He's too powerful. Just whatever. Like, no, we're taking that off the table in the first 5 minutes of the film. And I'm going to show that to you in all the previews. Every preview starts with Superman ass kicked. So you, dude who doesn't understand anything about Superman, you're wrong. And maybe that gets him to go, oh, I'm going to go take a look at this. I mean,
that's why there have been so many great Superman Batman conflicts throughout the years. Not the Zack Snyder one.
No,
but
no, I was going to say
in general, throughout the years, because Superman knows that he could end Batman with very little effort.
Well, sure.
But he can't. He won't. Batman has no such qualms. And so that's what gives Batman an edge, is that
Batman's not a killer either. He'll fight dirty, but he's not going to kill him.
Well, no. But he'll exploit a weakness.
Sure.
He'll use kryptonite,
He has no problem playing dirty.
Right. And that's what's great about Superman, is that the guy knows that he can win 99% of any physical test of strength. But he's not going to be able to do that, or people won't trust him. They won't look to him as a beacon of hope. He cannot be the guy that just ends things.
And at the end of the day, they both have a mom named Martha. So, I mean, that's...
And then they both have a mom named Martha.
There you go.
So, the conflict writes itself.
Yeah.
It's that hidden reality, like what you were saying about, we have to present Superman with problems that he can't punch his way out. It's this hidden reality. It's always been present in the comics, but obviously, when superheroes hit mainstream culture, it gets forgotten. Just like Batman needs to be a detective.
Right.
Right. It seems very similar to that, where people kind of lose the thread and then go, nah, he's just this guy. He punches stuff. And it's no. There is nuance to the character. If there wasn't, they wouldn't have survived for 100 years.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
And everyone gets all caught up on the idea of who would win in a fight, Superman or the Hulk. Well, yeah, that's a fun thought experiment, but that wouldn't be a fun story to read.
So my dad loves the Batman movies. You put a Batman movie in front of my dad, he's down. Doesn't even the shitty ones. He's loved it. It was great. And we were having a conversation. I was like, that's why Batman's so great. He's the world's greatest detective. And my dad's like, what are you talking about? And I said, he's the world's greatest detective. He's like Sherlock Holmes with, badass martial arts. And my dad's like, no, he's not. And I thought to myself, and then I replay. I did a quick replay.
Hollywood has failed him.
I did a quick replay of every Batman movie I've ever seen in my head. I was outside of Matt Reeves' Batman for maybe 5 minutes of that film. We never see Batman really being a detective.
I think Batman 89 does it a little bit.
Hold on a second. And then as I saw this clip this morning, don't forget the late, great Val Kilmer figuring out the riddle. The Riddler's riddle by Jim Carrey.
Okay, R.I.P.
That counts.
Let's talk about Val Kilmer for a second, okay? Because we lost Val Kilmer, and we love Val Kilmer. Everybody loves Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's Batman was weird as fucking hell. It was really so weird.
Yeah.
That performance.
I saw it freshly. It was bizarre.
I mean, it was a weird across the board, because he was a weird Bruce Wayne, too.
He was a weird Bruce Wayne, but his Batman was mouth open the whole time, just in awe of everything that was happening around him.
There's the best gif you can find of the Val Kilmer Batman is that one where he's given that weird, goofy, creepy smile.
Yeah.
Oh God.
No.
A lot of people
don't leave a woman alone with him. That's not good.
Yeah.
A lot of people point to movies with really attractive women that kind of awaken something in them, right? I think Batman Forever awakened the film critic in me, because I remember Nicole Kidman being introduced and her character name was Chase Meridian, and I'm like,
Chase Meridian.
that's fucking stupid.
Oh, it's the worst. Yeah.
I mean, look, if only that
bad.
weren't completely on brand for a Batman femme fatale.
Right.
He dated a girl named Vesper Fairchild.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty usually on the nose. But she's more serious love interest. So
yeah. Oh, and then she got murdered. Yikes.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's never good.
That's what you get for dating Batman.
I did. So after hearing about Val Kilmer's passing, R.I.P., I went and I was like, I'm going to watch a little bit of Batman Forever. And in my mind, I remembered Batman Forever fondly. No way. That one was pretty good. It was a fun time.
Yeah, that's because you haven't watched it in 30 years.
Yeah, it's like a fever dream. It really is.
It is very kind of trippy and weird.
I still can't believe Tommy Lee Tommy Lee Jones's Harvey Dent, like officially on a IMDb page. I'm like, what the fuck?
That casting, Jesus Christ. And
so weird.
And it was like Debbie Mazar and Drew Barrymore as like the lingerie clad gun malls that are hanging off of them. It's like,
Sugar and Spice.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Freeze?
No.
That's Batman and Robin.
That's Batman and Robin. This was the Riddler.
That was so bad.
The Riddler and Two-Face. But instead of
Wait, Matt, wait.
Oh, sorry.
Ian, go ahead.
I'm so sorry because I'm just going to say something stupid again. But
no, it's fine. Go ahead.
But like when you were talking about Batman's girlfriend that got murdered, you know how there are those women who will like fall in love with serial killers?
Yes.
Right? Like, has there ever been a story about like women like trying to date Batman because they feel like, oh, like there's a good chance I'm going to get murdered by the Joker?
I don't think so. That the thing is that Batman is never shown to be in a romance. It's always just Bruce Wayne,
right?
And then his double life ends in their doom. But,
Ian, if you want to read those stories, read Daredevil.
That would be funny though. That would be a kind of a funny take on that.
There's been plenty of people that have come to Matt Murdock's girlfriend and been like, "Do not date Matt Murdock. Don't do it. You gotta trust me here. It's not like he's gonna cheat on you. He's gonna be the best dude in the world. Someone's gonna cut your face off, or you're gonna go insane."
It's like, for those of you that aren't Daredevil readers or that haven't been reading Daredevil forever. You've got to understand the immense moment of panic and uncertainty all fans of a certain age had when they introduced that woman as Heather Glenn.
Yeah.
On Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah.
Because Heather Glenn, she doesn't. Things don't work out for her.
By all means, if you're
I thought that was it in the last episode. To be honest,
I thought so too, David. I thought she was a goner.
If you're gonna date a superhero, date Batman all day. Batman, he's gonna fake it, but he's gonna protect you. Batman's gonna feel the responsibility. Matt Murdock, Daredevil. He's so messed up in his head and his own bullshit. Like, you're going to get killed. Like, he's just busy.
You won't even realize it until it's late. It's just like, oh no.
Crying.
Comic book Matt Murdock fell in love with a blind woman named Mila Donovan.
This was worse than Heather.
And they got married.
Yeah.
And she was his wife. And then one of his villains named Mr. Fear, who is essentially like the Scarecrow, basically, did something to Mila's brain and broke her permanently. And so she had to be committed to a mental hospital. And her parents were like, we're taking her away and you're never going to see her again. And Matt was just like, shrug. Yeah, I guess that's for the best.
It was for the best.
He is not equipped to care for another human being that is not already as broken as he is.
And even Foggy was like, dude, when he was like, I'm going to marry her, Foggy was like, no. Like, you can't do it.
That's why we had that big argument last week when we were talking about how Foggy faked his death in the comics. Because Foggy was like, I got to get away from this dude.
Yes. Matt Murdock is not only the worst boyfriend, the worst friend you can have. Don't be friends with Matt Murdock.
Things will happen.
Yes.
Yeah, the worst things will happen to you, I assure you.
Karen Page, who was all up in the Daredevil TV stuff, she was murdered by Bullseye 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, Heather is dead. Or, I mean, Karen is long dead.
Way dead.
Yeah. She's like Uncle Ben territory.
I keep interchanging the women's names because they all have the same thing happen to them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Have you guys noticed in the Daredevil show how like there's this subtlety that both Kingpin and Matt Murdock do with their fingers? They're constantly fidgeting their fingers.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
And it's like it draws a parallel to the both of them. I'm like,
it's a great subtle little piece of acting. Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah.
And look,
is so good.
there is nothing I want more than for my boys Matt and Bruce to be happy, but they're not capable of it.
I don't think Matt deserves to be happy. I think Matt has too many times. It's just been like, no, that's inexcusable. Whereas Bruce, I've never felt like Bruce really screwed her over. You know, Bruce ultimately,
just by being associated.
Bruce is adult enough to be like, I can't do this because I am not Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman. I'm a crazy person, but I understand the gravity of that responsibility. Whereas Daredevil's like, I like hot babes. You know, what am I supposed to do, man?
Everyone was like, wait.
I mean, the dude's a repressed Catholic, so.
Right. You know, I mean, like, can't help it. He likes what he likes. I get it. You know, but like also, hey, just date Elektra. I get it. She kills people. You know what? She can take care of herself. She's the only one that can take care of herself. And he's like,
or Black Widow. Like, he dated Black Widow for a while. Date Black Widow, you know?
Yeah, but even Black Widow broke up with him. She was like, you are way too tied up in your BS and you're a crazy person. Go away. And he was like, you're right. Get out of here.
Like, that's his defining personality.
But you know what? These are the reasons why we love him. This is why we love Daredevil.
He's a sad sack.
This is why Daredevil, this is what sets Daredevil apart from Spider-Man or from any other, character along that same kind of tier.
He's Marvel's ultimate sad boy. That's what he is. He's
Marvel's ultimate sad boy.
Yep, big emo sad boy, and he's cute, and he's blind, and it's a whole thing. We all feel for him.
Ultimate sad boy #1 coming soon from Marvel Comics.
Okay, back to Amazing Spider-Man. Let's talk about Amazing Spider-Man for a minute. We just finished the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man, which took 10 issues. And
it was 10 deaths, and it
was 10 deaths.
Was it 8 deaths or 10?
It was 8 deaths of Spider-Man and 10 issues. And they weren't all written by Joe Kelly. I finished it last night. And now Joe on the show this week was like, I didn't really like where it ended up. And I was having fun with it about halfway through. And then I read the other half last night. And Joe Kelly is taking over with a new Amazing Spider-Man #1 this week. And I love me some Joe Kelly. I love Joe Kelly, but I didn't like this. I don't know what to say. I didn't like it. And I don't like where the character's at, and I don't know what they're going to do.
I think that I think we can kind of set the 8 deaths aside as like a one-off story. Because we know that when this book comes back with its new #1, it's going to be refocused on like classic themes, classic villains.
Well, sure.
Not that I think that resetting, hitting the reset button is always the answer, but this, the 10 Deaths of Spider-Man or the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man got way in the weeds.
It did.
And then they padded it out to 10 issues because they needed to they did that shit.
Yeah.
The like point they did with the issues. .1 issues where it was like Amazing Spider-Man 7 something .death.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, stop.
Dumb.
That's not a number.
And it wasn't Joe Kelly, and it wasn't Ed McGuinness. It was like different writers, and they were fine, but and they also, the thing is, they gave us these peaks of the future that I do think will be part of Kelly's story. And I'm trying to do this without spoiling anything. I don't know. I'm just going to spoil it. I didn't like, one of the things he did in this storyline was like Peter Parker. The thing we love about Peter Parker is he's down on his luck. And in every story, it's like, how am I going to handle all this? And we love Spider-Man because unlike Daredevil, Spider-Man doesn't end up so depressed that he ruins his life and everything around him. Spider-Man finds a way to pull himself up by his unitard and do the right thing, even though it's impossible, and come out of there, Peter Parker, I did the thing. Like, that sucked, but I did it. I'm a hero. Too bad nobody knows, and I'm poor. Whatever. This one, he was like, I give up. I give up. Everything sucks. This is horrible. I quit. And like, the story got super dark. They showed the death of Aunt May.
The dude died 8 times.
I know he died 8 times, but even then, I was like, nah, Spider-Man doesn't give up like this and start crying. So that's what fucking Daredevil does, I don't know. I didn't love it. And I'm hoping Joe Kelly, maybe this was a lot of editorial, like you said. They fleshed it out because they needed time, and they were just like, whatever, spread it out, and we'll tell this kind of worthless story so you can have time to refocus Spider-Man in a #1. And I hope that's what they did.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I didn't like this.
I wonder why. Because what did we need the pad out issues for? Why did we need the weird like interstitials in between? Like, just do 8 chapters. Just do the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man 1 through 8.
That's like 10 issues, and it's the 8.
I don't understand why we had these extra little diversions. And I mean, could it have been a timing issue? Maybe.
It's got to be, right?
Then time it better. time it better.
Well, I mean, unless something happens.
You're telling me you don't have 2 Spider-Man inventory stories sitting in a drawer somewhere that you can use?
I think
to mark time until.
I think that's what they did in this, Joe.
Yeah, but these were tied to that event, though.
I guess. I don't know. It wasn't great, and it worries me about Joe Kelly taking over. And I was thinking about.
I mean, this isn't the first time he's written Spider-Man.
No, it's not.
As an ongoing writer.
And I was thinking about the last time that I was excited about Amazing Spider-Man, and like that last issue of Zeb Wells' Spider-Man we read. They were like, you know what? This issue wasn't bad. And maybe it was kind of not bad because we knew Zeb Wells was done. I didn't really like the Zeb Wells run as a whole. It's been a long time since I've been excited to read Amazing Spider-Man. And I hope.
I mean, even I found myself losing interest even in Dan Slott's run.
Yeah,
where I had to like catch up on 30 issues to get caught up on Slott's run before the end.
I still think as a whole, though, Dan Slott's run, I mark that as
on balance, very strong.
Yeah, great run.
But it's just but he was also on the book for a decade, 8 years, a long time.
Every bit of at least 8 years, yeah.
And so, I just kind of lost interest in it a little bit. But I will say this, at least the dude took swings,
Took swings.
Because we had a Superior Spider-Man in that, and we had a bunch of different like status quos during that run where they tried different things.
Yeah.
Or Peter in different phases of life, and the characters kind of changed and grew, and relationships evolved, and it's good on balance. It's good. And the art is great. He had wonderful artists working with him. But then he also gave us stuff like Normie Osborn as the Red Goblin, which is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, stupid.
I don't need.
To be fair, Marvel was going through a thing at that time where they had like 7 different colored Hulks. It was like a Crayola box of Hulks, and people loved it. So they're like, why don't we just start coloring other characters? There's a green goblin and an orange goblin and a chartreuse goblin,
How old is Normie supposed to be? 7?
I don't know.
He was born in the 80s. Harry and Liz's son, Norman.
Okay, Normie's not the only kid born in the Marvel Universe that has problems with how old they are. Franklin.
No, you're right. But Matt Franklin was born in the 60s.
I get that, but Franklin was also 7 in the 80s, and then 9 in the 90s, and then maybe 11 in the last year.
It's true. But I mean, so like they made Normie the Red Goblin, and he was powered by a symbiote, and it's like, stop. So I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard to tell stories about these characters forever.
It's hard.
We weren't meant to be reading them for this long, you guys.
Yeah, Ian.
That's how it works.
Ian, what were you going to say about Spider-Man?
My favorite was the blue raspberry goblin.
He was delicious. I mean, like, it doesn't.
Blue raspberry's not even a real thing.
Yeah, it doesn't taste blue or it doesn't taste raspberry, but it is delicious.
He was the special hostess comic. They put in the back of comics.
Like the combo man, the combo man, a goblin.
Yeah, I want it to be good, and I hope it is. I just feel like this shit. It went back to this like. Oh, now you're back at the day Uncle Ben died. And he's like, oh, maybe I could stop Uncle Ben from dying. Like, how many times have you fucking done that, Peter? Like, give me a break. Like, how many times have we do, oh, no, Aunt May's going to die. Like, the best thing we have going on with Spider-Man right now is happening in the pages of Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man because they let him grow. Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man has not grown.
Well, but there isn't also a ton of baggage hanging from it.
But there doesn't have to be a ton of baggage.
Ultimate Spider-Man, as of this month's issue, only has like 20 characters tops.
I get that, but there doesn't have to be a lot of baggage. They are in charge of what they choose to ignore and what they choose to do. Absolutely. Dan Slott proved that, Joe. Dan Slott made him a billionaire and gave him a company and shit. Tell me that's not baggage? And that's gone. That is long gone. He sold his marriage to the devil, Joe. That's gone. Like, we don't even think about it anymore.
No, you're right. You're right. They are in charge of what they choose to
They're afraid
put
to
on the page.
do something with this character, and it's too bad. All right. We're getting close to the end here. Invincible, the finale. Jim has wanted to talk about this. Everybody was supposed to DM Joe and make him watch it, but I don't think you guys did it.
Oh,
it is the best.
First of all, don't DM me and make demands.
It's the best goddamn cartoon on television. It is.
Yes,
hands down.
If you guys are comfortable getting into spoilers, go ahead. I don't care.
I mean, there's not that much to spoil because I do think.
I mean, ask the other people in the room. I personally don't care. So
go. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm aware of everything that happens. Plus, I read the comic a long time.
I've read the comics. Yeah. So yeah.
Jim,
but was it like Conquest's like speech to Mark a little different? He talks about like.
I mean, I don't know, Jim. I haven't seen it.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes. So Kirkman came out and basically said, much like his Walking Dead show, like, look, if you came here looking for panel remake of the comic, that's not what we're doing. And quite honestly, he's like, this is like my second chance to do things that I may have not wanted, or I wish I would have done different or better when I did the comic. And there were some things in the first season where I was like, man, it seems like they're moving pretty quick with this, because like the whole thing with his dad, right? That lasted. Right. We didn't know how evil Mark's dad was for a very long time in the comics. I mean, in
10 issues.
Yeah. And this, like, right away, like, kind of launched into, he killed the Guardians, or whatever, of the Guardians of the Globe. And you knew. And it was him keeping a secret the whole time, which is fine. It still worked. So, yes, he is changing some things. I do think it's for the better, though. I think it's making the way that I watch the show on a meta level, like, more interesting, right? Because, like you said, we've read the comics. We know what's going on. But I don't know what's going on. Like, even knowing, like, the background, they're changing some things and doing some things that make you, as someone who read the comics, go, holy shit, this show is great, because it's still keeping you guessing.
I think because even like with Shrinking Eve, that was a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
She was, she has an expanded role. I mean, she's gender swapped too, but that's okay. Eric is doing a lot more.
Yeah.
Ooh. It was great.
Not Adam Eve.
Shrinking Ray.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. That.
Oh, Shrinking Ray.
Yeah.
They made it at a woman.
Yes.
They made Shrinking Ray a woman.
Yes.
Joe, you got to watch this show. It's excellent. Come on.
I mean,
man.
I've seen the first season.
Oh my God.
I know. I need to watch more. I know.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I honestly thought Oliver was going to die. Like, I thought his arc of the whole season was him, like, testing himself, like, I'm way stronger. And then when Conquest just pimp slaps him, and I'm like, oh my God, Oliver's going to die. Like, he did not die, but I was like, oh my God.
They've done the weird half bug son.
Oh yeah.
They pushed that. Yeah, they pushed that.
No, Oliver's an interesting character, because he's like, Mark, you got to kill these guys, And I thought his
sort of.
I think one of the
right. I just thought he was going to die. That would be push Mark to start like, okay, I gotta kill these. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I think they handled that really well. So, and
I think one of the things that they're doing so well, like, I really liked Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It's fun, but it also feels kind of formulaic and kind of predictable and kind of safe in what it's doing. Whereas in Invincible, it just opened the world. Here's everything. Here it is. And it's bonkers and it's crazy and no one is fucking safe.
I mean, it's odd that you say that, also, for because Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is not retelling stories.
It's
Invincible is retelling the story of Invincible, the comic.
But it's not. They're doing more than that.
But he's doing it in a different way.
Yes.
But it's still the same. Like, they just did Conquest. Like, it's the same beats.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is retelling the story of Spider-Man in a different way as well. But, like, I mean,
no, that's not what I mean. That's not the same thing. Like, they're not retelling actual storylines in Spider-Man in the same way that they have done in Invincible.
I guess what I'm saying is, as a comic book adaptation, they've done it in a way where even if you've read it, you're going to be surprised. And Unlike other comic book adaptations where you see the writers or the producers say, no, we got to focus. It is the main character and maybe one or two guests that show up this time and one or two guests that show up this time. Invincible is just, you're in a world. You're dropped in a world. And here's everything.
But that is the beauty of Invincible, the comic as well.
Yes.
That you can read Invincible and then not even miss it when Mark's not around.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Yeah, and the thing they added, Joe, at the end of the season is we're going to hell. We got Darkblood, a new Darkblood storyline that
Damien Darkblood, fun.
Yeah. So he's like talking to like, oh, I found a guy that's really evil. He can take over his body. So obviously a lot of speculation. I think it's going to tie into Nolan because I guess
you know what, and I don't think that. I think I did read that that's a story that they are doing that they wanted to do in the comic but never made time for.
This is brand new,
this will be a wholly original story that Kirkman wrote but never published.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And now I want a Battle Beast cartoon.
Yeah.
Now give me a Battle Beast cartoon. Give it to me.
Hey, if this comic does well. Probably.
I mean, let's see how the Battle Beast comic does first.
400,000 pre-sales. There it is. Whatever that means. I mean,
Jim, I want to, Jim, again, don't get too excited because when Marvel got the rights back to Star Wars and they relaunched it very high profile, with one of the biggest writers in Western comics, Jason Aaron, and one of the biggest artists at the time, John Cassaday, R.I.P. They came out and they were like, oh shit, guys. Star Wars #1 pre-orders were like many, many hundreds of thousands. Was it a million?
No, they said it was like 1.5 million.
And everybody what came out was that like, that's because about 80% of them went to, what were those boxes? You remember when you could do those mail order boxes?
Yeah, it was
like Geek Box or whatever.
It was like things like that. Yep. They had a tie-in with a video game launch at like GameStop or something like that. So
it's like, congrats, you did sell. You did 1.5 million in pre-orders. But that does not translate to the actual numbers of the comics that were sold to people that read them.
Sure, but I will also say
we will see how Battle Beast does.
I don't think Battle Beast has some massive Geek Box tie-in.
Well, they don't really do that kind of thing anymore. So like I agree with you. And so this number might be legitimate, but pre-sales to retailers is a lot different than actual sales to consumers.
Right.
All right.
So, and that's the double-edged sword about, American comic numbers is that, well, you can only trust it so far.
You see, Jim, American comic books, it's like an infant. It hasn't been around as, a business very long, as opposed to manga, which has its footing, and launched and taken over everything. American comics still very small. Nobody pays attention to them. It's not.
American comics have only been around for 90 years, Jim. I mean, come on. We're not there yet. Let's walk before we run, buddy.
Well, the reason I got so excited because this is exactly how the manga sales go. Is like you have an anime, you have an adaptation, and people are like, "Give me more, give me more."
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's great.
Battle Beast was so good this season.
I also think, Jim, you're on to something. I think Kirkman is paying attention to what is working in those sales, and I think he's going, "Why aren't we doing this here?" Kirkman's a smart guy. He understands.
Don't get us wrong, Jim. Like 400,000 pre-orders is still a massive number. For an American comic, any American comic, especially an indie comic like Battle Beast. Mm-hmm. Technically speaking, Image is still indie because they're not published by a corporate giant. But it's impressive, and I hope that translates to it being in the hands of people that want to read it and not just sitting on shelves. Well, that will be the test. That will be the test.
The show has been a huge hit as well. And it's been a huge hit sort of on its own, right? Like if you look what Mark Miller did with Netflix when he got his deal, everyone's like, oh my God, they gave Mark Miller this $1 million deal and he's going to do all these shows on Netflix. And guess what? Nobody watched them and they failed. Like they just sucked.
They were not good either.
And Kirkman,
no, they weren't.
Just quietly, they put Invincible out. It wasn't The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman's Invincible. He let it stand on its own. And it started slow and it gained more and more viewership. And now it's a huge hit. And I
mean, they probably did a little bit of that, like from Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead.
I don't remember.
Probably a little bit. Yeah, the actor who plays Glenn got a starring role as Mark Grayson.
Sure.
But I mean, but Matt, I do think you are right for the most part. Is that it wasn't, The Walking Dead presents Invincible.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't anything like that.
Right. Yeah. All right, I got to get out of here. This was a great gang hang. It was a small romantic group.
Intimate. I loved it.
Yeah. Intimate. That's what we come here for.
I'm a cheap date.
Intimacy. If you like intimacy,
hey, you know what?
Come to the gang.
Before the show, I told Jim he was looking sexy as hell.
All right. Okay. I'm shutting this down before it goes where I think it's going. Everybody have a good time. We'll see you next week. It's Two-Headed Nerd. Signing off, you perverts.